Have you ever had that feeling where you're like trying to figure out like all of reality?
Yeah.
And you just want like that one key insight,
Yeah.
that could like totally shift your perspective on everything.
Oh, yeah, totally.
Well, that's what we're hoping to do today, at least. Doing a deep dive today on this really interesting YouTube transcript.
Okay.
From the Artificially Aware channel.
Cool.
It's all about the ideas of Robert Anton Wilson.
Oh, wow. Robert Anton Wilson.
Yeah. Have you heard of him?
Yeah, I've heard the name. I don't know if I've like really dug in.
Yeah. So the transcript calls him a philosopher of the bizarre, which I kind of like.
Okay.
But he was really an explorer of consciousness. Like, how do we as humans construct our realities and all that?
Interesting.
And he wasn't afraid to like challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
There's this anecdote in the transcript about him joking that people who like really get into these big ideas often feel like scholars during like the Inquisition.
Oh, wow.
Like they're always kind of looking over their shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because like the powers that be might not want you thinking those thoughts.
Right.
So that kind of sets the stage for what we're doing here today.
Yeah, totally.
We're going to really try to unpack some of Wilson's core ideas about questioning reality.
Okay.
What are the forces that shape how we see things?
Cool.
And I think there's some really interesting, potentially mind-blowing stuff in here.
Love it.
So to jump right in, there's this quote from Wilson that I love. It's so simple, but it's so powerful. He says, if you included everything, all you'd perceive is chaos. And it just makes you think, like, why aren't our brains just taking in everything all the time?
It's true, right? Like, why are we filtering so much? I mean, our brains are amazing at filtering. They have to be.
Yeah.
Can you imagine just like the amount of information that's coming in at us every second?
Yeah.
It would be completely overwhelming.
It would be unusable.
Totally unusable. So our minds are constantly curating reality for us,
That's so interesting.
Yeah, they're selecting, organizing, and interpreting information to make it coherent, to make it something that we can actually work with.
Yeah.
It's like our brain is like the ultimate editor, you know?
Like a movie editor.
Exactly. They take all this raw footage and turn it into something that we can understand.
That's so cool. So this leads to one of Wilson's big ideas, the neurological reality tunnel.
Oh, yeah.
Which is basically this concept that we each live in our own little bubble of perception.
Our own matrix.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. And what's really cool is that this tunnel, it's shaped by everything, right? It's shaped by your individual experiences, by your cultural background, your beliefs, your values. It's all in there.
So like the reality tunnel that you're experiencing isn't going to be exactly the same as mine.
Exactly.
And neither of ours is going to be the same as anyone else's.
Total different filters.
Yeah, we're all living in our own personalized maps of reality.
Yeah, and this is really important to remember, I think, especially when we're interacting with other people, because it helps us understand why people can have such vastly different interpretations of the same event,
Right.
Like you could have two people witness the same thing and they will come away with completely different stories.
Yeah, and then they'll argue about it.
Right, because they're both seeing it through their own filters.
Totally.
So this idea of reality tunnels, I think it's crucial for navigating disagreements.
And just understanding people.
Yeah, for having empathy for other people.
So there's this really interesting exercise that Wilson adapted from Aleister Crowley.
Okay.
Who got it from a Buddhist monk.
Oh, wow.
And it's like ridiculously simple, but it's really deep. And the question is, why am I sitting here doing this?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And the idea is you keep asking why to every answer that you come up with.
Okay.
So it's like, why am I sitting here doing this? Well, because I'm recording a podcast.
Right.
Okay, why am I recording a podcast? Well, because I want to share these ideas with people.
Right.
Okay, why am I recording a podcast? Well, because I want to share these ideas with people.
Right.
Okay, why do I want to share these ideas with people? And you just keep going and going.
Wow.
And what's amazing is you start to see all these connections, like all these seemingly unrelated events that have led up to this moment.
Yeah, you start to see the cause and effect.
Yeah, like a specific book you read years ago, a chance meeting with someone, even the geological history of the planet. All of these things have kind of conspired to bring you to this moment.
That's crazy when you think about it like that.
It is kind of mind-blowing.
It really highlights the interconnectedness of everything.
Yeah, and it makes you think about the role of chance and our biology and what they call cosmic coincidence in the transcript in shaping who we are and where we are.
It's not all just our choices, right? There are all these other forces at play.
So think about your own life for a second.
Okay.
What are some seemingly random events or meetings that have like totally changed your path?
Wow. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, right?
Yeah.
Like even just meeting certain people can change everything.
Totally. And Wilson often talked about how he got polio as a kid.
Oh, wow.
Which was obviously a terrible thing. But it kind of pushed him towards a more intellectual life. Reading, writing, asking questions, all that stuff.
Interesting. So it's like even the bad things can lead to something good.
Right. And so if something like a childhood illness can have such a huge impact,
Yeah.
Wilson asked this great question. What else in your life has shaped you without your consent?
That's a deep one.
It makes you realize how many things we're probably not even aware of.
Yeah, all these subtle influence.
Yeah, and this all ties into Wilson's perspective on our own nervous systems.
Okay.
He says that our nervous system is basically lying.
Whoa, hold on.
Not like it's trying to trick you,
Okay.
but it's just giving you a simplified, filtered version of reality.
Right, because there's too much information coming in otherwise, so it
you
has to edit it down for us.
And so this is where we get into the discussion of mind-altering substances and certain practices.
Okay.
Because Wilson suggests that these things can kind of disrupt that normal filtering process.
Interesting. So it's like they can pull back the curtain a little bit.
Yeah. And give us a glimpse of what's really going on behind the scenes.
So it's like seeing the Matrix code.
Kind of, yeah, like substances like psychedelics or even practices like intense yoga or meditation.
Yeah.
They can change how we perceive things.
Yeah, they can really shake things up.
And you can see why that would be really fascinating for some people and really scary for others.
Sure.
There's also this really funny little piece of advice in the transcript.
Okay.
It's very Robert Anton Wilson.
Yeah.
He says, never combine pot with either booze or amphetamines.
Yeah, good advice.
Yeah, it's just like a little aside, but it kind of shows his personality, you know?
Yeah, it's like he's exploring all these crazy ideas, but he's still got his feet on the ground.
Right, and Wilson puts all of this in an evolutionary context.
God.
He says basically the only reason we think our current understanding of reality is the right one is because we haven't tried any other ways of perceiving it.
Right, we're just stuck in our default mode.
Exactly.
We haven't experimented with turning it inside out, you know?
Yeah, and so that brings us to Timothy Leary's 8-circuit model of consciousness,
Okay.
which was a big influence on Wilson.
So can you give us a quick rundown of what that model is?
Yeah, so basically it proposes that our brains develop through these different stages,
Okay.
each one represented by a circuit.
Okay.
The first few circuits are all about survival instincts, emotional responses, territorial, stuff like that.
Okay, the basics.
Yeah, and then the later circuits get into more interesting stuff like time perception, sociosexual behavior, and even like realms of consciousness beyond our normal awareness.
Oh, wow. So it's like there's these whole levels of reality that we're not even aware of.
And that's Wilson's scandal.
Huh.
That so many people are just unaware of these additional floors in their mental mansion, as the transcript puts it.
They're living on the first floor and they don't even know there's a penthouse.
Exactly. And they're missing out on so much.
Yeah. It's like they're living in a black and white world when there's a whole spectrum of color out there.
And Wilson believed we could tap into those higher circuits, through things like meditation, psychedelics, different practices.
So we can upgrade our operating.
Exactly. He talked about tuning our neurons like a cosmic piano.
Wow. I love that.
It's a cool image, right?
Yeah. Very poetic.
So if we're all operating from these different neurological circuits,
Yeah.
it kind of explains why communication can be so difficult sometimes.
Totally.
Like if someone's really focused on those basic survival and territorial circuits,
Right.
they might not understand someone who's coming from a more like interconnected or universal perspective.
Yeah, they're speaking different languages almost.
And this idea of the reality tunnels really emphasizes that challenge of communication.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if we're all living in our own little bubbles of perception,
Right.
how can we ever really understand each other?
And the more someone tries to force their worldview on others,
Yeah.
the more obvious it becomes that we're not all seeing the same thing.
It's like trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. It's just not going to work.
And Wilson had this really interesting view of objectivity.
Okay.
He didn't see it as some kind of fixed truth that's out there independent of us.
Right.
He saw it as more like a swirling sea of data that each mind edits.
That's a good way to put it.
And the transcript has this great example about how a group of people can leave the same room
Okay.
and they'll all remember the hallway outside differently.
Interesting.
It's not just bad memory, it's our brains filtering and editing the information.
Yeah, we're all creating our own narratives.
Exactly. And this also highlights the danger of what Wilson called model worship.
Okay. What's that?
It's this tendency to get so attached to our own beliefs and assumptions that we reject anything that contradicts them.
Oh, yeah. I know people like that.
We all do it to some extent, I think,
Probably.
but it can be really dangerous, especially in things like politics and religion.
Right, because it closes you off to new information.
And then the transcript gets into this whole discussion of the suppression of knowledge, specifically around psychedelic research.
Interesting.
Wilson talks about how promising research was shut down.
Really?
Yeah, he even mentions anecdotal accounts of LSD being used to treat things like impotence and cancer.
Wow.
And this is all happening during a time of huge moral panic around these substances.
Right. The media was freaking out about it.
Exactly. And Wilson points out that the CIA was doing a lot of LSD research themselves, and they probably didn't want any competition.
Yeah, that makes sense.
He says that the knowledge that certain chemicals might free the mind from inertia is a threat to authoritarian structures.
Yeah, I mean, if people start questioning everything, it's going to be hard to control.
Right, and Wilson saw this as a kind of modern inquisition where scientific freedom was being stifled.
Wow.
He talks about how programs at Harvard and Spring Grove were shut down.
Really?
And how even national broadcasters wouldn't air anything positive about psychedelics.
It's like they were trying to control the narrative.
Exactly.
That's kind of scary.
It is, and Wilson's point is that knowledge break illusion, and illusions hold up the pillars of any power structure.
That's powerful.
It is. So then the transcript moves into this discussion of social conditioning.
Okay.
And what Wilson called the guilt matrix.
Okay, so how do societies imprint these norms onto us?
Well, Wilson talks about how it happens especially during puberty.
Oh, yeah. That's a formative time.
Exactly. And societies tend to have very specific rules about sexuality.
Right.
And he points out that our individual sexual preferences are often shaped by our early experiences.
Yeah.
But then cultures label certain expressions as deviant.
Yeah.
Even though they might be perfectly natural.
Yeah.
And so this creates what he calls the guilt matrix.
Okay.
This feeling of sham or wrongness that we internalize.
Just for being who we are.
Exactly. And there's this really vivid anecdote in the transcript about a man who becomes impotent.
Oh, wow.
Because a policeman knocks on his car window while he's with a woman.
Seriously?
Yeah, shows how deeply these social norms can get wired into. And Wilson also talks about this concept called the anal territorial circuit.
The what?
Yeah, it's kind of a weird name.
Okay.
But he uses this analogy of politics being like dogs pissing on trees.
Uh-huh. Okay.
Which is kind of blunt, but it gets the point across.
So what's it trying to say with that?
He's saying that a lot of our behavior, especially around power and territory, is driven by these really primal instincts.
Right, like marking our territory.
Exactly. And he suggests that even our complex political ideas might be rooted in these basic urges.
It's interesting.
But Wilson wasn't all doom and gloom, you know?
Okay.
He was also really into the idea of mind expansion.
Okay.
Like, how can we consciously hack our consciousness?
So like upgrading our mental software.
Exactly. He was a big proponent of things like yoga.
Okay.
General semantics.
What's that?
It's basically the study of how language shapes our thought.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, and even using brainwave machines to alter our brain states. He believed that language itself could be used to reframe problems and shift our perspectives.
So like the words we use really matter.
Yeah, he says we are all recasting verbally anything that seems insoluble. So by changing the way we talk about something, we can change the way we think about it.
That makes sense.
And the main point here is that the mind is not static. You know,
okay.
It can be changed and rewritten.
We're not stuck with the brain we were born with.
Right.
We can upgrade it.
And then the transcript talks about this thing called model theory.
Okay, what's that?
It's basically the belief that our own model of reality is the only true one.
Oh, yeah, I've definitely seen that.
Yeah, and it leads to judging and rejecting anyone who sees things differently.
Right. It's like my way or the highway.
Exactly. And Wilson acknowledged that we have to filter information. You know, we can't be aware of everything all the time.
Right.
But he warned against getting too attached to our own mental models.
Okay.
Because that can close us off to new possibilities.
Right. So it's a balance, right? Between having a model of the world, but being open to changing it.
Exactly.
When new information comes in.
And so ultimately it comes down to a choice, you know?
Okay.
Do we cling to our illusions?
Right.
Or do we explore these uncharted realms of consciousness?
I like that.
Yeah. And Wilson was all about exploring.
I wanted us to push the boundaries.
He wanted us to cultivate a sense of wonder and curiosity.
Yeah, like a childlike sense of awe.
Exactly.
That's beautiful.
And the transcript ends with this really powerful line. Once you notice these illusions, it's impossible to unnotice them.
So true.
Once you see how your reality is being constructed, it's hard to go back.
You can't unsee it.
So the big takeaway from all of this is that we have this incredible power to change our minds.
Right.
To see the world in new ways.
By questioning everything.
By being open to new perspectives.
Yeah. And by cultivating that sense of curiosity.
Exactly. And that curiosity is the greatest gift we can give ourselves.
Right.
It's what propels us beyond those limiting illusions.
So on that note.
Yeah.
What's one belief that you hold dear that you might be willing to question now?
Ooh, that's a good one for everyone to think about.
Yeah, I'm going to have to ponder that one myself.
Me too.